Hi everyone, it's Dr. E and I'm here with an instructional video for the written response assignment. So what I'm going to do is just pull up various documents, show you the guidelines, expectations, and an example of the written response. But of course, always reach out and let me know if you have any questions. Use that Q&A discussion board area, that'd be awesome. So the first thing I'm going to pull up is just a quick kind of review of the syllabus. So this is the syllabus for 1301. You see that there is a writing collection here, and below that we have written responses. So those are 100 points overall. And then this is, again, all part of the written collection assignment. And the same for English 2323, right? We have the written collection, which is going to be made up of these written responses that we'll eventually revise, edit down the line. Don't worry about that too much, but just note that 100 points for those assignments. So I'm just going to jump to the handout for this work because I think that's a great place to start. So this assignment is really a chance to explore your ideas, expand your thinking, push to think critically about those things that we read each week, whether you're in the literature course or in a composition course. Writing is a big component and part of our learning outcomes for each class. So we do have to, find ways to push our ideas, but I feel like the written response is a nice way to kind of ease into writing and not overall just have, this great big research essay that's due at the end of the semester or something like that. So you write these whenever they're assigned in the week. I will give you feedback on those, and then eventually you'll take those, collect them, and put them into your written collection. Just don't worry about that right now. Just let's get the basics, okay? All right, so for each response, you're going to create and upload a document, and as always, Word format is just going to be the best. You can also save as a PDF, but y'all, no pages. Please don't submit in anything other than Word format or PDF, because D12 won't open it. I can't grade what I can't open, right? So you'll have a particular prompt that you'll think about, and that's always going to be in the assignment area. So I'll give you a prompt, you'll think about it. I'm going to give you a template that follows MLA formatting guidelines. Please use it. This is one of those times when I'm going to look you in the eye and say, use the template. Please use the template. It's already set up in MLA formatting, and there will still be those of you who do not do that. So you've been warned. I have asked you. I'll leave it at that. All right. I also want you to really think about the fact that you want to download the full Office 365 suite, which is available and free to you. You can click here and it will take you to that area in the Office of Technology Services website where you can click Get Software and download all of that. You're going to need that as a student here. So especially those of you who are starting off first online course or first course period, you're going to want the 365 suite. So I'm just saying. Okay. So each entry needs to include this information. We have the week number just so that we can differentiate between the different weeks, the text title, and then the author's name. And so I put, for those in English 1301 or 1302, whatever course you're in, you can use Lunsford. She's the main editor of our text. And for those of you in 2323, if there's ever a time when you need to write a written response based on, say, the biography of an author or one of the background chapters, right, the Victorian era, the Romantic period, if you're asked to write a written response, then you would just give Greenblatt, our overall text editor, that kind of credit. Typically, you won't write about that, but just in case. For MLA formatting, while using our course text or article shared by Dr. we place the title in quotation marks. All of this to say, whatever class you're in, the title is going to be in quotation marks. I can't think of a time when the title would not be in quotation marks, because in British literature, you are writing about a single text in an anthology, which utilizes quotation marks. And then those of you in English 1301, whether it is a video title, whether it is something from our course text or an article, those are all in quotation marks. Okay. We also want to ensure that we're giving credit for these ideas, so I want you to refer to the author throughout each entry. I'll get to that in a second. So below all of this information, this is where you'll go ahead and answer the prompt. I put, this is not necessarily a formal essay. I don't want you to see this assignment and get really freaked out and think, oh my gosh, these are all the things about English courses I was scared about. I want you to think about this as kind of in the same vein as what we do in Packback or what we do in our discussion posts. You're just submitting it directly to me in a more kind of formal format, but the expectations are pretty similar. So rather view this as a discussion post, right? Only submitting it to me so that I can then give you feedback, because that's just the way D2L allows me to give you that feedback. So I can go line by line, and that's another thing about double spacing. I can give you inline feedback about your writing, inline feedback about your ideas, congratulate you, help you do all those things that I'm here to do for you. So again, just kind of reiterating that we need to use that template. Okay, so you have the prompt, right? And then you're going to choose a quote. It should be something from the assigned text. So if it's a particular video, then take a quote from that video. If it's a chapter, you get the idea. In the past, I've had some students who went out and found a quote that somehow related to what they were writing about. And do not take that extra step. Don't take that extra time. Find a quote from the specific item that we are writing about in that particular week. And this is again, we're practicing some of those MLA things. Those of you in 1301, we're easing into it. Those of you in 2323, this should be a review, right, of pulling out quotation marks, giving proper credit for that, etc. Okay. A full citation or works cited is not needed for the individual written responses. So just take that to heart. Do not put a citation. It is not needed. And here's just the general grading rubric for if you're searching for, I'm really going for an A or high B, B or high C. So you can look in these categories and kind of see where you may lie when it comes to earning that grade. Okay, so that is just the general guidelines. This is the template. So I will put this not only in the weekly assignment area when a written response is due, but I will also post it in that module in the content area where it has all the materials related to the different assignments and the rubrics and stuff. So you can always grab it when you need it, right? You can just go to the content area. So I put title in quotation marks here. So you're just filling this out with your own information. You're double clicking up here, putting your last name in, double clicking outside. Okay, you should never be filling this in manually. Just put your name here, put your English number, whether it's 1301 or 2323. You leave this, I am your professor, so you leave your professor's name here, and then we put the due date. I often joke with students about the due date because in MLA, that's what's required. But a lot of times I have students who want to put the date that they started the writing because it makes, that impression of, oh, I started really early. I started this assignment as soon as I possibly could. That'll, give Dr. E a good impression. Put the due date, right? I am fully expecting that all of you immediately when an assignment is posted, you're going to jump on there and start working on the assignment, right? Yeah. Okay. So, and I put, after this, you just begin your response here. There aren't any fancy spaces. There's no bolding. There's nothing like that. Y'all, MLA is boring. It is very straightforward when it comes to plain on the page, right? So if you're doing something that seems a little fancy, then it ain't MLA, okay? All right, so I put here, after hitting the return key once for just adding a space, that's where you place your quote along with an explanation. So for the quote, you need to tell me why is that quote important? How does it connect overall to the ideas mentioned in that article, video, chapter, short story, whatever it is that we're covering that week? So don't just drop a quote there and expect me to know, like, what does this have to do with anything? Make sure that you're including the page number if that's relevant. Make sure you're giving credit to the author, of course. Okay, so please use the template. And additionally, I'm sharing a student from the past. She has allowed me to share her work. This is Anita from a class in the past, and so you'll see that this is the format, it's very straightforward. She has the title. This is, again, from Andrea Lunsford's text, so she has the title of the chapter in quotation marks. And then we also watched a TED Talk that week, so she put the title of that in quotation marks, and we have the editor and speaker, right, giving credit. And then without anything fancy, no extra spaces, she jumps right in. She offers this information. She's offering quotes to support her ideas. we'll ease into that. Those of you in 1301, those of you in 2323, this again should be somewhat of a review. And then I'm scrolling down, and please note that Anita wrote quite a bit. She wrote a little bit more than the minimum required each week, so I'm not saying that you have to do that. I typically am asking, this week it's 2 to 3 paragraphs, next week it's 3 to 4. It gets to a point where if you're under that amount or if you're way over that amount, that's going to affect your grade. So those of you who are underwriters, push your ideas, think critically, ask those questions, who, what, when, where, how, any of those kinds of things that will broaden your ideas. And those of you who overwrite, you may have to rein it in a little, and it's a really good practice to make sure that you are getting to only the points that are absolutely necessary to make sure that your idea is coming across and you're communicating effectively. So keep that in mind. All right, so if I scroll down, you'll see at the end, and this is just because it worked out this way. She didn't put the quote on an extra page just because that's the requirement. So she has her quote right here. She's given credit, especially with the video. She put the timestamp, that's always required. And then she explained the quote. She's, this was chosen because it's important to remember, and she gives a good explanation of it. Okay. So, that is what the written response is, but I want you to note that every time this comes up and is due in a week, you'll have a particular prompt for a specific reading, text, that kind of thing. So it will always be a little bit different, but I'll give you more specific guidelines for each of those. These are just kind of the general things to keep in mind in terms of formatting and expectations overall. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and post in that Q&A discussion area, and good luck.